Hello, and welcome to the only podcast where we can see Lawson losing a foot in battle this season, which would only give him more reason to loathe Two Boots. I'm Matt.
I'm Max.
I'm Luke.
This is Force for Thought.
Well, I already messed up once, so it'll be edited out, but that makes two mistakes, so I'm on thin ice. Hello, and welcome back to Force for Thought. Today we are discussing Maul, Shadow Lord, episodes 5 and 6, Inquisition, and The Night of the Hunted. I'm very excited to get into these episodes because I feel like it was the first different episode. I don't know. I'm curious what your guys' overall thoughts are, specifically on episode 5, because it was a much slower episode. Not short, but it was... I don't think any action. Like, there was a little kind of kerfuffle in a subway station, and they kind of ran away for a second. And that was like the only action in the entire episode. Most of it was just character development, story development. And when it ended, I was just kind of like, okay. Like, it was a good episode. I liked it a lot, but I was like, that was like a very story-driven episode for an animated show, which I mostly watched Clone Wars and Rebels. So I'm like, you just don't really see that a whole lot, where there's like really zero action. And then the next episode started, and it like kicks off right away. And I was like, oh, okay, here it is. This is why you release them in the 1-2 punch 2-episode release, because the sixth episode, the second of the release, literally started with the Inquisitor just like cutting into the door. And it happened immediately. Like, I think they have like maybe, 2 lines of dialogue with each other, and they're already being hunted down. And I was like, wow, they're really going into this fast, because in the previous episode we see Marok, and Marok is like a detective, and he's looking at all these clues, and he's going to all these places, and I'm like, okay, he's going to be hot on their trail, isn't he? And I had no idea that he was that close, because when that episode started and he just starts slicing into the door, it is a jump scare. And then the episode just doesn't let up the entire episode. And it was so much fun, and watching those 2 episodes back to back was very satisfying. And I'm really glad that they're releasing it this way, because I like to think that I'm a self-aware person, but I feel like if they weren't releasing these in 2-episode batches, I would be a little bit critical. I'd be like, oh man, I waited all week and all I saw was episode 5. Because it's a Maul Shadow Lord, and it's like, oh, give me Maul, give me the action, that's what you want. But surprisingly, for some reason in this show, it's not. The story is so good, and I'm here for it. Anyway, I'm a very selfish host, because I wanted to start with my high-level thoughts before I kicked it off. But with all that said, I will turn it over. Matthew, what are you thinking?
Maxwell, you absolutely would not be that critical every week, because we have done that before with the Acolyte, and we keep saying, well, it all goes to a bigger picture. We've done this before, right? We would not be as critical as we think we would. We'd like to think we would be, but we're not. I had the same thought, kind of. To me, it felt the most like Rebels, I think, that we've seen so far. When Lieutenant Blake comes in, I was like, oh no, just another suit that we kind of get, and I was kind of like, okay, I'm not super excited for this direction that it's going. I was like, maybe this is the turn of the show, and it's kind of front loaded. Riley, I didn't think was super interesting to see his perspective of things after we get Two Boots and we get Lawson and all this interesting stuff. And then by the end of the episode, it completely dragged me back into it as well. And I was like, oh, it all comes together. It all comes to a head. And then, like you said, it just kicks off in episode 6. And it was like, oh, yes, this is, like you said, why this isn't a 2-episode release is that they're amazing companion pieces. And even though I just said, Max, you would not be critical, I'm also thinking the same way. I'm going to basically repeat what you said, and the fact that I would also be like, I can't tell if the show is going to go in the direction I want it to, or if it's going to kind of backtrack to a typical animated show that we're used to in the Star Wars universe. And it doesn't matter, because it doesn't. It's its own thing. But yeah, but the 2 episodes combined, you can almost see as one piece, and it's perfect. I loved it. These episodes might get boring, because it's all talking about how much we like it, besides Luke Taylor, who is the bit of a Sith himself in these past couple weeks. Luke Taylor, what do you think about it? Sorry for stealing that ball pass from you, Maxwell.
I loved these 2 episodes.
Oh, yeah, we're back.
I agree that the 1-2 punch of episodes 5 and 6 was very appropriate, releasing in the same week. And it's something that I thought was bothersome in episodes 1 and 2. If you listen to that review, I found it frustrating that episode 1 ended at what I considered to be an unnatural and unsatisfying point, just to be picked immediately up in episode 2. Basically, the same thing happens here, but episode 5 ends with a natural and I would say appropriate ending to an episode, with the reveal that Devin and Daki are in Lawson's house, and then it obviously picks right up. Like, it's almost the same thing where it's the same scene just cut in the middle, but it's like reveal and story beat to end it, and that, which I guess is sort of like episode 1 in that if you use those same words you could, but I don't know. I didn't like episode 1's ending, but I liked episode 5's ending, and they're very similar. So I liked that. The episodes as a whole I thought were two of the best. I won't say we get the best lightsaber fights because they're so consistently top of the line. They're sounds disrespectful to call them now average Maul Shadow Lord fights, but they're
spoiling us. Unfortunately, we're coming to expect top tier choreography, which we're getting.
Right, they are keeping par with the extremely well done lightsaber choreography, which I thoroughly enjoy. We can talk about it in more detail, each character as they've progressed, but Riley was not the standout, but the thing I want to talk about, the character I probably want to talk about most, because as of right now, Riley Lawson, Brander, his name is Lawson's first name.
Brander,
Brander Lawson's son. Riley Lawson is in a position to become the most interesting character of the show, with his dad as a quasi-rebel and his mom as we don't know how thoroughly she is in the Imperial camp, but she's pretty far along. She is a full-on Imperial, and she assumes that Lawson was in the wrong as soon as she heard that the Empire was chasing him. So the dynamic of mother and father on two different sides, and him being caught in the middle, but also the Empire and the rebels, I'm very excited to see where that goes.
I don't know if they are going to be on two different sides, though. I sense a little reunion coming up, because they obviously, like, yes, she's in the Empire, and when he had that little video call with her, she had the whole, like, oh, if the Empire's there, they're just maintaining order, like, just listen to them, do what they say, cooperate, and you'll be fine. But then they had, like, that very specific beat of her, like, literally looking over her shoulder and being like, I gotta go. And it's like, we don't know where she is because it's a hologram and we only see her. Like, we don't know. Like, it could have been innocent or innocuous or whatever, but I feel like it was a very intentional beat to show her, you know, literally looking over her shoulder and kind of getting that, because it did also lead to, like, a good little bit of a twist, where at the end of episode 5, when he walks into the room and you can tell from Lawson's reaction that there's someone else in the room, and I was like, oh, it's going to be his ex-wife, and then it's like, oh my gosh, no, it's them, and I'm like, of course it's them. So I'm really interested to see where that plot line goes. And I'm interested. Sorry,
I don't think it's gonna. I feel like it's not gonna be a reunion. I mean, I think they'll get on better terms and whatnot. But did anybody else catch that? In my mind, in my headcanon, I feel like they went to his lover to help escape, which I feel like Riley kept getting some weird looks. I feel like that was the reason their marriage broke up or something. Am I reading too far into that? Like,
no, I was getting those
like, there was some
too.
weird.
It was interesting.
Okay, it was like there were some weird looks.
Felt sexy.
Yeah, right. Okay, yeah. I was like, because I feel like specifically Riley was like awkward to make eye contact. Like he knew there was another person, and that is the person or something. Like, I don't know. It gave me. I just felt bad for everyone in that situation in that scene. I did not enjoy that.
Yeah, that is a good call.
They had that line also where I think Brander said, "We go back a long way," and that is movie code for "we have seen each other naked." I believe 100% of instances where someone says, "We go back along" with 3 or 4 O's, long way, we've seen each other naked.
Well, let me say it like this, Max. We go back a long way, and Luke, we go back a long way.
Yikes.
Well, you were roommates.
I lived with Max for a time as well.
Then I don't know how you. Yeah, there's He cuts off pajamas into shorts that are shorter shorts. He reads books with his legs up.
I like to be able to let my parts breathe. Anyway.
Yeah, I'm so sorry.
I'm glad that you said that, though, about Riley, because this is a very character-based show, and we talk about it every episode, but Riley is one of the characters that I thought was most interesting in these last 2 episodes, along with Two Boots, who we'll talk about shortly. But the pairing off of keeping Docky with Lawson and then Devin with Riley also kind of added like a new element to it as well, because I was like, oh, maybe Riley and Devin are going to like be a thing in that they're like allies, friendly. Maybe they'll be a couple, but that's not like necessarily how I mean that. But that like how is that going to be impacted by Maul's attempt to seduce Devin to, you know, the dark side or whatever you want to call him? And how's that going to affect Riley and his relationship with his dad and everything? There's a lot of relational little webs that they're spinning that I find to be very interesting. So I'm excited to see that continue. Any other thoughts on Riley?
I just had this thought as we were talking about it more. Max, you think it's going to be more of a reunion, and I think it's going to be more of a choose one of your parents in the divorce thing, which seems like he might have already done, so this is going to be extra sad. But I don't want it to be the same as like the Bad Batch, where Crosshair goes to the Imperials and the Bad Batch stays with the Rebels, and then they even team up for a little bit, and then they're like, all right, now you're with us, Crosshair. And Crosshair is still like, no, fuck you guys, I'm still with the Imperials. Get out of Camino, they'll come get me. We've seen that story, so I guess that was kind of the story that I was expecting when I was talking just a few minutes ago. So I don't want exactly that, but I don't know. That's just my most anticipated storyline right now.
It still hurts my soul to talk about Crosshair in that regard too. It's just like, you're so close to what I wanted you to be. It sucks. It sucks so bad.
It's so cool that all those characters had thorough character arcs across the Bad Batch, and that we all remember them.
Why'd you say it like that?
Because Max keeps throwing stray bullets at the Bad Batch as we talk about Maul Shadow Lord.
It's not. It's because I'm trying. Listen. You guys were trying to compare Maul to Andor, and we all agree that's just completely unfair.
What
so
do you mean, you
trying
guys?
to compare apples to apples here. So I'm comparing Maul to the other animated Star Wars shows. That's why I also keep going back to Rebels and Clone Wars and occasionally Resistance, although I need maybe to give it a rewatch. Yeah, that's about it. That was the end of that thought. Anyway, moving on. The other character I wanted to talk about was Two Boots, because I'm also very interested in his story, especially moving forward, because we know he's clearly, by the book, he's very protocol. He's the one who contacted the Empire. And now Brander Lawson and his son, who, Two Boots is very close with the entire family. It's not just Captain Lawson or anything like that. They're now seemingly on opposite sides of the law. And I really like that little, it was kind of like a campy, tropey moment, where he was like, oh, and those boots aren't regulation, And it's like just to, really throw just to really solidify the fact that this guy, the Imperial, was evil. It's like, oh, now you're criticizing his uniform when it's like literally his entire identity. And then I started thinking about it, and I was like, that is his literal identity. Like, here he is thinking he's doing the right thing. He literally identifies as Two Boots, and now it's like the Empire's coming in and it's already starting to throw shade at that and everything. And then I started thinking about that, and I'm like, oh, he does wear two boots. And apparently that's not regulation. So he's not completely by the book. So I think there's also going to be a little story arc here of Two Boots turning on the Empire and rejoining with Lawson and his son, and they're going to go out on the lam. And I don't know. I don't know where anything's going, obviously, just that they're kind of laying the seeds for that, and I think it's very interesting and compelling. We've talked before about how we like Two Boots a lot as a droid, and I like him a lot as a character as well, like his own little story arc that he might be getting. Who knows? But I like that beat a lot.
I talked last week about how my favorite thing about Maul Shadow Lord is so unexpected, where first week it was the relationship between the human cop and his son. And the second week, it was the relationship between the human cop and his droid. And this week, it's the relationship between the human cop's droid and the human cop's droid's boots. We just keep drilling into this very niche character development for two boots, and I love it. I was worried that you were going to come in cold on that moment because you called it campy, and I thought that was derogatory, but then you talked about it a lot more, and it sounds like we're on the same page. That was one of my favorite parts from these two episodes, because I never noticed he had boots on either. Has there never been a full body shot, or have we just not noticed? Surely
There
this
have
isn't the
been.
reveal.
I've noticed it before. Because
I
they
never
never really emphasized it, but it was definitely there. Because I even thought to myself, I was like, oh, I'm glad that it's being a little subtle. And I feel like they did a good job of keeping it subtle long enough for you to be like, okay, they're definitely there.
Subtle.
And then really drove it home with this moment.
Yeah, I mean, that was a jaw-dropping moment.
His name is Two Boots. What are you guys talking about?
I never.
It's subtle. That's his fucking name.
Well, they never
They never
have
did
a
like
shot of him kicking his boots up on the desk and Brander saying,
Yeah,
"Hey,
but-
get your two boots off my desk, two boots."
I mean, sure, that's true, but his name is literally the thing we're talking about.
Did you notice his boots
Yes.
before this week?
I think when I heard his name, I assumed instantly that's what was happening.
I
don't
assumed,
know.
but I never noticed. And I mean, I'm a big costume guy. I usually notice stuff
That's
like
true,
that.
that's true.
So it was kind of a real exciting moment when he said those boots aren't regulation, and I was like, oh, that's too bad. His boots are pretty cool. Oh my God, his name is Two Boots. Oh my God, how dare you, sir?
That's exactly
That's
the
a
train
funny
of thought that I had.
revelation.
And I feel like I had a very Luke Taylor reaction too. As soon as he said that those boots aren't regulation, he said it with such disdain, and I just went,
That's a really funny impression of Luke because he does that noise all the time. That was so good, Max.
I'm glad
So
that you
totally
appreciate it.
shocked.
But yeah, I like that beat a lot. No, I said it's like kind of like campy of like just like, you know, the evil guy is evil and we got to, you know, just quickly show the audience that. But it was a good moment. It was like a really good beat and it had those layers to it that I more than anything in these last two episodes kept going back about to think. Kept going back to think about.
Yeah, this show's pretty good. Like even episode 5 when I was like a little bit weary of where they were going, I was enjoying it. I was like, it's still very good, yada yada. But then I just can't believe how he pulled me back in so quickly as well.
I didn't realize you guys were so cold on episode 5. Usually I'm the one that's less enthused if there's no lightsaber vroom vroom, but I loved episode 5.
Honestly, I didn't mind the lack of lightsabers or action. It was just like, oh, we're focusing on a different aspect of the story. And I'm like, is this the real story now we're going to dive into? It was like, oh, we're going to set these up. Like, because honestly, Star Wars has been not really transparent with how they're going to structure things, right? And so I was worried that we're going to completely take a hard turn and we're never going to focus on Lawson as the main character again, or he's just we're going to finish the storyline on him being like the D character.
I wasn't worried about a hard turn, like, because I feel like they kind of clearly set it up from the beginning that this is where it was going to go. So it's not like I was surprised or anything. And I don't want to say that just because there was
Mandalorian,
no
that's all I'm
action
saying.
means that it's not my favorite episode. But what is, like right now on IMDb, it's rated like an 8. And I think that's about accurate. I would give episode 5 an 8, but I give all the other episodes like 9 or 10.
So you're a pretty harsh critic.
I can be. This show is good. This is the double-edged sword of trying to have a podcast and be Star Wars fans. It just, you know, questionable content gives us so much more to talk about. When something is good, we're just sitting around like, yeah, I like that. You guys like that too? Yeah, that's pretty good. All right.
That's very good.
Pretty good.
One thing I can talk about that I liked in episode 5 specifically, Jedi Master Daki. Jedi Master. I mean, not incorrect. I don't know why I said it like that, though. Jedi Master Iko Dio Daki performed a mind trick on a stormtrooper, and it didn't work out. Seems like an overpowered ability, and we need to see
exactly
it not
the
work
way
sometimes.
it would have in the real world. That's what made that moment so good. Is it's like, oh, he did the little mind trick, then he went away, and like ever since A New Hope, like everyone's always memed that part. You know, it's like when did he realize that those were the droids he was looking for? Like, what about the other stormtrooper standing right next to him, being like, "Dude, what the hell are you doing?" And that's exactly what happened in this moment. I don't know. I like that moment a lot as well.
Same. That guy had to get in so much trouble. There's no way he could explain that. Like,
Yeah. But anyway, then the other thing I wanted to talk about too, while we're talking about characters, is Marok. I like him a lot, and I'm glad that they brought him back for Maul Shadow Lord. Obviously, he was in Ahsoka. We've already seen him in live action. He looks great. The costume design for this Inquisitor is a 10 out of 10, so I'm very glad that they're bringing it back. And I feel
He's
like
nimble.
they're doing him justice. Like I said, like I really like the aspect of like Detective Marok and how he was going around from like scene to scene, and the interrogation of Brander Lawson. That was a really good scene, and it did give me flashbacks to another Inquisitor interrogation scene from Obi-Wan Kenobi when Reva is interrogating Leia, and that's a good example of an interrogation scene that isn't very good. So I was, again, happy to see good things be done well.
there was an aspect of it I thought, oh my god, I don't know why I started the sentence like that. I liked the when Lawson notices the fingernails in the table. I thought that was a spooky little detail, and especially since he we've been with that character before, and it's like, oh yeah, that's not a fun moment. She's been reassigned, but like, she dead? Like I don't know. What does reassigned mean for good?
I didn't think she was dead at all. I watched another YouTube review that said it was an implied death, and I did not read that, but apparently some people out there do. Either way, I don't think we'll see her ever again. If she's been permanently reassigned, she's on Narkina 5 or whatever. I think she's out of this show, but I don't think she's dead.
I don't think so either. I just
I didn't take it to mean like a literal death either, but I agree that she was clearly taken out of the picture one way or another. It would be very dark for that. Well, I mean, I don't know, because again, like we're discussing whether or not it's actually what that means. So I guess that is kind of like the perfect level of ambiguity.
Which I that's unfortunately, I feel like that's the Empire's MO, right? Like, is just that ambiguity to like, that's that mental mind games that they're playing with their people. Maybe she is dead. Maybe she's not. I didn't really take it as she's dead either, but I feel like there's like that. I feel like you could take it like that potentially, obviously.
I think that you are coming in too cold on Marok. I think this propelled him to GOAT Inquisitor in just these 2 episodes. I think these were the coolest. This is the coolest Inquisitor content we've ever gotten. I absolutely loved every scene that Marok was in, from his design, his voice, his fight choreography, the way like you said before, he was doing detective work, he was doing the interrogation work. I thought he was so cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
No
I'm trying to think of
Absolutely
other
agree with
Inquisitors now that might rival. I mean, Grand Inquisitor has got to be up there. Marok
Just
would be a
because
pretty
of screen
close
time. I'm
second.
not that enthralled with Grand Inquisitor, but Trilla, second sister from Jedi Fallen Order, was my favorite Inquisitor, and Marok has all of a sudden leapfrogged her in a quarter of the screen time.
Yeah, I'd agree.
I think
with
Marok
that.
is just cool because he's so nimble and scary.
He's so scary.
I'm a big fan.
I think that's what he's got going for him. Sorry,
I am a
Max.
big fan of what was her name? Icarus? It was something like that from Rise of the Red Blade / one comic of Charles Soule's Darth Vader run, because that book was really good, and I often find myself not interested in the Star Wars novels, unfortunately, and that was one that really gripped me. So I would put her high up there as well. And the tie-in to Darth Vader, which I can't believe that they actually did. It was so satisfying.
We'll have to do an Inquisitors ranked episode, because I also really like the ninth sister from also Jedi Fallen Order. She's a
The one who gets her
female
arm chopped off.
Dewootin, and she's huge,
Mhm.
and she's just badass. Not much in the realm of character development. I guess none of them are. Well, some of them are, which is crazy that some of them are thoroughly developed, and I still like Marok better just for the vibes.
I think the Inquisitor in this show. I think that's the thing, is that he's in the perfect context where he is like, He is the get you guy. He's a detective, like Max said, and I think that it's like we already know him too. So he's just his whole purpose is to be cool, right? Like we know how this whole thing ends, yada yada. But just to have him be able to go out, be a detective, and have him be able to play in this space is perfect. Cool question: who do you guys think he sees at the end of episode 6? Who do you think he's talking
it
to?
is?
Vader.
Oh shit! I was just gonna say no. It's gotta be the Emperor, right? Because like that's who. I mean, that's who
I
we
think
were
it's Vader as
set
well.
up.
That's why I said that, because right at the end I was
Interesting.
like,
Wow.
oh, we're
I
going to
thought
get
it
this
was-
reveal of the Emperor. And then we didn't get it. And I was like, oh, that's weird that we didn't see the Emperor. I feel like that was a pretty low-hanging fruit there. But then I was thinking about the Charles Soule Darth Vader comics, and I'm like, well, actually, they established a pretty clear hierarchy in there, in that the Inquisitors do report to Vader. So I was like, he was probably talking to Vader. And so I thought about that, and I'm really glad that you said that, because I hope that that is in the mind of most viewers, that like, oh, he was obviously talking to the Emperor, right? He called him Lord, and it's like, you always refer to the Emperor as my Lord or whatever. And then it's like, we'll get
I
like,
refer to Vader as my lord also.
yeah, that's completely untrue. Yeah, scratch what I just said there. But I hope that it put in people's minds that they were talking to Emperor. That way, it's still a little bit of a fun reveal at the end when they like, you know, have him come down the ramp and you're expecting the Emperor, but then it's actually Vader, and you get that like, oh shit moment. Because I'm looking forward to that. Which has been done in like almost every Star Wars project now, but I can't get enough of it. I mean, if it works, it works.
We were talking
The only
about...
thing I was gonna say,
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, just we were set up to have the Emperor on our brains, just because that's obviously who Maul is going after. But
Oh, that's true. Yeah,
that's
I
a great
also-
call. I was just joking because I was like, I did not even think it could be Vader as an option, just because we're led to have Vader or the Emperor on our minds, just because that's who like he's going after. But that would make a lot of sense.
Good.
Having said that,
That really,
I
that
mean,
really
it could
does
just
make
be-
me happy, because, like I said, I want that moment to be genuine for a lot of people.
well,
This
you
is-
fucked it up for me.
I think this is... No, because we're not certain. I say that. I'm about to make what I would consider a very definitive case for why it is Vader. So I do feel certain. But that's just my arrogance, really. Because we talk about how we would whore out the Duel of the Fates song every time Maul showed up, and how they really don't. But they definitely do for the Imperial March every time Vader shows up. And they definitely did not this time, even though I think it's Vader. So I feel like they are trying to leave it ambiguous on whether it's Vader or Sidious or maybe someone else. Because, yeah, I was like almost shocked when it didn't fade to black on a slow Imperial March, like, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Those episodes of Rebels and Ahsoka and Empire Strikes Back and...
And it's a funny thing, because had they done that, I just would have been like, yeah, that makes sense. That's cool. I like the music. And I really wouldn't have thought more about it at all. But you're right, because they like almost went out of their way to not show it is why I started thinking about it. Because I was like, well, that was obviously the Emperor, right? And then I was like, well, actually. And so, yeah, it's little things like that the show is doing really well. You know, it's like it's not like every episode is like a major curveball or anything. You know, or it's like you never have any idea what's going on at any given moment. They're just doing like little tiny quick sleight of hands that I'm just like, oh, that's satisfying.
I was, you guys listen to our podcast every week? I don't know if that's cringy to admit that I do, but I listen every week.
I used to.
And I was listening back last week, so this week, I was listening, and I was talking about how I think Obi-Wan might play an element in this story one way or another. And I was kicking myself because it's so obviously Vader that is going to play an element in this show. And I was having this thought before I watched these 2 episodes. Can't prove that because I had it in between recording. But that's a story element in Rebels on the Twilight of the Apprentice when Vader shows up and Maul is like horrified. And he's like, oh shit, no, we don't stand a chance against Vader. He is so much more powerful than us. I'm leaving. Like, Maul has history with Vader that we have not seen.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be so cool to see it.
Oh shit, that's true. Oh man, that gets
And there's also-
gets me tickled.
Vader has history with Maul from the War of the Bounty Hunters. I don't know if you can see it. Got it over there. War of the Bounty Hunters comics, when he fights Kira, he recognizes her fighting style as someone that was trained by Maul because he assumedly had fought Maul, which Anakin Skywalker
Dang.
never does. So it's got to be Vader.
I like this quite a bit.
Wow. Oh, this is blowing my mind. I'm
And again,
getting pretty excited.
Just like how perfect it is for Marok and the Plague Doctor Inquisitor. Like, this show is all about vibes and how cool you look. Of course, Vader is going to be in that show. He is the coolest fucking character in anything ever. Like, it's just all roads are leading to Vader, and he is going to absolutely embarrass Maul, and I can't wait.
And Luke, you've already made this joke, but it just makes so much more sense to why it probably is the actual historical truth of what happened when they announced that they were going to do a season 2 of Shadow Lord before it even released. And you were like, well, looks like Dave Filoni just finished his watch through of the entire thing. Like, yeah, that's probably exactly what happened. He watched the end and he was like, fuck, we did so good on this, guys. We're doing it. I don't care. I don't care what the reviews are like. I don't care what the ratings are like. We're coming back for season 2 on this. And luckily, this show's doing incredible. I was just reading an article the other day, I think in Variety, that this is supposed to be breaking a bunch of streaming records, either for Star Wars or Disney Plus. I forget now off the top of my head, but the show is being incredibly well received, and a lot of people are watching it, and that's getting me so excited.
Good.
Vibes are high in Star Wars land right now. It's good, and it's only going to get even better next month when Mando and Grogu come out.
That's right.
Which maybe
Everyone
a little
will love
lit
that
through the
movie.
game, but I feel like they are making a much bigger marketing push in the last weeks here. Because I just saw today that they're also doing a partnership with Burger King, and they have like these exclusive toys at Burger King, and they have the Burger King crown, but it's the Mandalorian helmet, and I'm like, oh, gotta get me a Whopper.
Oh, shit.
I
I'm not
hear
trying to-
episode coming up. Content.
I'm not trying to do some free advertising for Burger King again. Because we did that for Ahsoka already. But I did see that they came out with a brand new Whopper, and I'm seeing the ads, and I'm like, damn, that does look a lot better. Might have to try one.
That's always the basis. That looks better than what I had for 4 weeks or 8 weeks in a row that we hated. And every single week, we're like, fuck, this sucks.
Oh,
Why are we
man.
doing this to ourselves?
I mean, honestly, I'm probably going to save the new Whopper for Ahsoka Season 2 when we, again, eat Burger King every week.
Are we doing Burger King again for it?
We have to now.
We got
I
it.
hope this show lasts 2 seasons only.
That's funny. Any other? I'm trying to think of what else stood out. I mean, the action
know, right?
was absolutely incredible. The visuals was absolutely incredible. It's like little things that I notice that I'm just like, wow, look at how good that looks. And I'm watching it with my wife, who doesn't have the same appreciation because she's just like, this is like a cartoon, like it's animated. And I'm just like, you don't know how good this looks right now. But there was one specific shot of Riley outside of his lacrosse game where his hair is just blowing in the wind. And I'm like, you can see his hairs. Look at the individual hairs and go compare that with Clone Wars Season 1 when it was just like the equivalent of like the Lego hair. It's just like a thick,
Yeah.
block.
I feel like after you guys watching a lot of PBJ Otter, you guys should know how good the animation for this show is versus
We
that.
do watch a lot of PBJ Otter in my household. Yes, we do.
I feel like
also
Go ahead.
I like when Devin was like, I'm gonna stay back. Riley, you go on the train at the end of episode 6. I know the Night of the Hunted is like, I love these episode names. They all give like this really spooky. Like this show should almost have come out in October and it would have fit really well. Like it is like next level scary. And then I love when Merrick and Maul are fighting on the train. Like this, just 10 out of 10. And then just the glowing of the red and the blue sabers. It just gets me so excited. I know we skipped to the ending of that episode, but I like that whole sequence. I like it a lot. And I think another thing too, for all the listeners, is that I always feel bad when we say like, Maul Shadow Lord review or whatever, because it's not really reviewing. It's just like the fact that like we turned our text chain into the exciting stuff that we like to talk about. So like we can diminish some things or whatever, but like sure, those things are like not. I always feel like with most Star Wars things, the pros outweigh the cons, at least in the moment, as well. But I'm like, right now I'm really hyped on it. I'm excited to to see how many episodes. Is this 10 episodes?
I believe
It
it's
is.
10,
And I know
yeah.
we're allegedly getting a
Yeah.
season 2, but I still have a
Yeah.
hard time thinking about it in terms of Bad Batch, Rebels, or Clone Wars, or Resistance. I think about it more as like Tales of the Underworld or Tales of the Jedi. More like a mini-series. I hope it goes on for a long time, but I'm still not convinced that it will. But I don't
I agree.
I guess really have a reason to feel that way. It's just kind of the
I think
way
it'll be a
do.
3 and done. I mean, he's just now kind of getting into the underworld, right? He's not the Shadow Lord really yet, right? Like he will be at some point, and then, but yeah, so we got a while for him to even kind of become controlling of like presumably these syndicates and stuff too.
You
That's
also
where
got
we're
to
headed.
account for business doing business. I mean, if this show's, doing well, ratings wise, it's getting good reviews. It's an animated show, so I don't know what the budget is for this, but I'm confident that it's nowhere near the budget of Andor or Mandalorian or anything like that. So you have to imagine that behind the scenes, they're like, oh, thank God we finally got a hit that's we can crank out relatively cheaply.
Yeah.
Was I talking about how I might have been talking about it with you guys, but off the pod, we're talking about the business aspect. Bill Lawrence, the guy who made Scrubs and Ted Lasso and Shrinking, talking about how the landscape of like pitching shows has changed with streaming, and now you like never pitch an ongoing series. You pitch a story with a beginning, middle, and end. So, like for example, Ted Lasso and Shrinking, each of those stories has a beginning, middle, and end over 3 seasons, and then it ends, and like you can come back for a 4th season, but it's not like Bill Lawrence said with if you watch Shrinking, like if season 4 can't start with Jason Segel still being sad that his wife died, like that story began, had a middle, and it ended, and now they're moving on. Like you can come back for more seasons if it's like immensely popular like Ted Lasso, but it's going to be a different story. So I wouldn't be surprised if that kind of philosophy has infiltrated all areas of show production, and that's where we're at with Maul Shadow Lord also. We're gearing up for a 3-season run.
And if you want help pitching on a TV show, reach out to me, Matt Lewis. I go by Technimoto. You can new.
Matthew, when you were talking earlier, you reminded me of one other thing that I wanted to talk about. When I was talking about like the little twists that they throw in. It's not even a twist, whatever. But there was a moment in episode 6 where they were running away and they got into the lat gunship, which was very exciting. And then they got to the roof, and then they all got on the ship except for Daki, and he was kind of holding them off. And I even said out loud to my wife, I was like, oh, this is it. This is where he goes. This is like the classic, like, you guys get out of here. I'm going to hold them off as long as I can.
Everyone gets to watch him die.
Exactly. They're all standing on the platform on the ship watching him. And I'm like, this is it. This is his last stand. And then he did it. He survived. And I'm just like, man, where is this going to go? That's the second time now that I was confident that Daki was going to die, and he hasn't yet. And I'm glad for it. But I'm like, man, is he going to get got by Maul? Is it going to be an Inquisitor?
I feel like we don't know him yet enough to care about that death. Again, yeah.
Oh, I care.
I would be devastated.
Really? I don't know. I don't
Quote
know.
Han Solo, I'm out of it for a little while, and everyone gets delusions of grandeur. I keep having the thought that like maybe Daki will be the one to fall to the dark side and join up with Maul, or like I had thought like, oh, maybe it'll be Riley. That doesn't really make sense. But I like
Han
every now and again
Solo
just
said
get-
all of that?
The quote hasn't stopped yet.
every now and again I just get the wildest tinfoil hat theory, and I do think it's going to be Devin becoming his apprentice, or him at least trying to go that route. But like, man, that'd be pretty sick if it was Daki. I don't know. That kid told him to eat Chuta after he said we can always rely on the kindness of strangers. that would send me to the dark side.
That's his Joker one bad day origin story. I'm glad that you said that, though, because that's kind of what I was getting at earlier when I was talking about the relationship with Devin and Riley, because, yeah, that's what I thought, too. I was like, oh, maybe Riley's going to turn to the dark side, and Devin's going to have to try to pull him out of it. But, yeah, I was like, that theory is kind of doing too much. I'm with you. I'm like, I think clearly going to be Devin, right? Like that's what they're aiming towards here. Like I feel like that's what all signs are pointing towards. But every now and then, I do get that tinfoil hat where I'm just like, maybe.
I would
Very
love to
excited.
see a story arc about the battle between the light and dark side as a non-Force user, which we did get in the sequels with Finn, which I've talked about at length, but that went over the head of almost everyone. And so let's try it again. Maybe Riley is the right candidate.
Yeah, we got that with Sabine too.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
I feel like we're too close to do that for a third time now.
No, they didn't walk it back with Sabine, but they did make her a Force user, which they also did with Finn. Let's do it with a
That's true.
non-Force user and keep them a non-Force user.
Although, is that where they ended with Sabine? I thought the Sabine thing they kind of wrote off as like everyone can be force sensitive. Like some people are just more genetically predisposed to it or something like that. Because they took her M count, right? And Hu Yang like had that funny line where he was like, it was low. I forget. I need to rewatch that now.
Yeah, it was average at best. I remember that as well. But I don't think that discounts what I'm saying. Like, yeah, I think Riley is as force sensitive as Sabine, but it's the training and seeing him with a lightsaber one day that I would like to not see should he have a struggle with light and dark side.
Interesting. And then another thing I forgot to mention, and this might sound like a negative, but it's really not because I really don't care at all about Rook Cat. What's her name?
Yes.
Rook cast, yeah.
Rook Cast.
It's a bad. I don't know. I'm sus on that name.
I thought she was going to be a more important character than she has been through these first 6 episodes, but there was like a small tiny beat where I was like, oh, maybe we're about to find out more about her, because it seemed like she's in charge of like maybe the Mandalorians on Maul's team, because she had that weird encounter where she was like talking to them and the one guy was like talking about quitting or whatever, and the other guy was like, hey, as long as the credits keep flowing, and that was kind of like the end of it. So I was like, oh, that's interesting. Maybe there's going to be like a little uprising within Maul's ranks that he's going to have to quell. I don't know.
Yeah, I'll keep an eye on that. I'm honestly kind of over Rookcast. I know I said that the show's going to live or die with
Same.
her, a la Fennec Shand and Boba Fett, but every
Too
other
many
character
other people
is
have
so
popped up.
Good.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
I
fine
know.
if she
I'm the
stays a
exact same way.
nothing burger.
That's why I don't care. Like I don't want to make it sound like a negative that like, oh, they didn't do a good job with her. I just don't care. There's so many other characters that I'm more invested in now. Eco, Devin, Riley, Lawson, and Two Boots.
And Ludi.
I'm all
Don't forget
more
Ludi.
interested in.
He's funny.
Matt
You like
does
Ludi. Star
Well,
Wars.
I like
is
that you
pro
call
Ludi.
him Ludi.
It's good. It's a great character name. It's so funny. He loots things. He steals things. It's funny.
Were you
Are
excited
you
to see
guys
him
not like
stick
it?
around for little reason?
What do you mean, little reason? He likes hanging out in the bowels. He says he doesn't mind the smell. I always like thinking that all this cool stuff is happening underground and it's spooky and it's weird and it just smells like absolute shit. He's like, yeah, I love it. It doesn't smell bad down here at all. That's just funny to think of the logistics of that.
I won't yuck your yum, but I would classify him C or D tier of Maul Shadow Lord characters.
I'd put him above Rook. I like Vario. Ludi.
Yeah,
I'll start calling him
Ludi.
Ludi too. It feels weird calling him
Thank
Ludi,
you.
but
Yeah.
I'm
We like
pro
Ludi better than Riley too. Riley's too much of a golden boy for me.
Golden Boy.
He's just been sheltered. He is a golden boy.
Hey,
Yeah,
I don't
you
know.
weren't
I'm
saying
just
that about Luke Skywalker.
Matt was bullied
Probably
by the
were in the
lacrosse team in
beginning of
high school,
episode
to be
4.
fair, though.
That's
What is
what.
that?
I said Matt was bullied by the lacrosse team in high school, to be fair, though.
No, my school district was too poor to have a lacrosse team. Joke's on you.
They name dropped Space Lacrosse Bodekin, so we can stop calling it Space Lacrosse.
Yeah, they dropped it too
That was
late,
nice
though.
of them.
Yeah. They baby
Space
Yoda it.
lacrosse.
You're the one who keeps saying space lacrosse, and everyone else keeps on saying Bodian now. But it's like, no, it's like this is my baby Yoda.
Do you think they've beaten the Baby Yoda allegations now that they have a movie coming out with Grogu's name in the title? You think?
I think
Yes.
I think so. Honestly,
Because
yeah.
I told you that moment that I had with Amelia during Christmas when she opened up a toy and it was a Yoda toy and she said, "Dad, look, Grandpa Grogu." And I'm like, wow, that really came full circle, didn't it? And it
Yeah.
only, when did that come out? 2019. So what, 6 years? Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
I like
they
how
did, they did a
you-
great job. They branded it as the child. It did not stick. Everyone was like, nope, fuck you. That's Baby Yoda. And then they said, okay, his name is Grogu. And sure enough, that stuck around. Now he's Grogu, and he's bigger than Yoda.
I like how you don't name drop your wife, but you name drop your children. You always just say, "My wife and I watch this." Anyway,
I
Amelia,
want it to, I want
you
it to
know
be
her.
clear. My partner and I.
So I wonder if we'll get a movie in a couple years with Bodekin in the title.
Probably. Ludi and the Bodikins.
Ludi
Ludi
plays
has-
Bodkin.
It's
Ludi
one of
would
those
get crapped
things-
on. He's too small.
It's one
He's
of
the
those things
ball.
where had he said it earlier, if he had said like, "Oh, I haven't," if Lawson said, "I have to get to my kid's Bodekin game," then that would have stuck with me, and I'd been like, "Oh, what's that?" And then I would have eventually put together like, "Oh, this is just space lacrosse." But because we saw space lacrosse multiple times before the name, I'm like, "Nah, it ain't gonna stick unless they really do drill it down." But I don't think
know
they
you-
will.
I know
think
you're
the
talking in
Bodekin subplot
generalities.
of Maul Shadow Lord will be very minimal.
I know you're talking in generalities, but if Brander Lawson actually said to Two Boots in what was that, episode 2 or 3, I have to get to Riley's Bodekin match, everyone would have leaned in. That's way too much heat on Bodekin. You can't name drop it before you see that it's just space lacrosse.
Yeah.
Because then you're going to have to be like, oh, is this going to be like the Star Wars equivalent of Quidditch? Is there a Star Wars Quidditch now? Finally, we can all play Bodekin.
We already have the scoops.
That's funny. It's just the same.
Another thing I wanted to talk about, which when we were talking about the animation, I know not everyone is on board with animation as an adult. Like there are still those out there that think animation is for kids. The perfect litmus test, like you don't even have to show them the whole show and be like, all right, did you like it? Like just show them the intro of episode 6 when Maul is playing with his lightsaber. Like if you watch that and you don't lean forward, you're just not into animation as an adult. And that's fine. Not everyone is. But man, that was so cool.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of things like that. I don't know. This is a show. I'm glad that this is an animated show. Like this is the first time that I think I can say that. Like Clone Wars. Like I always hate, I'm not going to name drop him because I don't want to give him any more popularity, but there's a very popular YouTuber out there who hates Star Wars but loves Clone Wars, and he's just on his high horse about like, oh, they should have just made live action Clone Wars. That's all we want. It's all anyone's ever asked for. And now I'm like, no, this is animation at its finest, and I don't think this would be better if they did live action. Maul Shadow Lord, I'm referring to now.
I have a little song for that YouTuber to listen to. It's the Rolling Stones. You don't get what you want, you get what you need. I don't. I butchered that, and I don't even know who you were talking about, and it doesn't matter. But I butchered that joke even.
I agree though. Some things wouldn't work as well in live action. Obviously, other things less obviously, but I think Clone Wars is among those of the less obvious things that needs to be in animation. Just the scope of it. I mean, every episode has a $50 million CGI battle if you're doing it in live action.
Correct. Yeah. All right.
The train fight. Got to talk about the train fight. We've it's been talked about as like I think it was like a 2010s trope of action movies always having a fight scene on a moving train or on a moving bus or something. And it was really popular for a while, and I think it did die down, so maybe it was the 2010s. But, man, this was so cool. Excellent train fight execution.
Yep. And that was another
Marok
thing, too, with the
turning on his-
animation, like the tunnel that they were in, like the lighting effect that was going on. It just looked so cool.
Marok turning on his double blade just for Maul to also turn on his double blade. It's like, they did everything that we wanted to see.
Correct. Which is
And
a
he turned it
classic
on.
trope, you know, the classic like, oh, joke's on you, I'm right-handed. Joke's on you, I'm also right-handed. It's like, okay.
Marok turned on his double blade at the exact right time when Maul like caught his wrist up high and he was looking at the other blade and then he turned it on.
Oh, yeah, he did. I know exactly what you're talking about. I gasped in that moment. He moved his head at the last second. I was like, oh.
If
I
you're
knew-
not hella familiar with double blade lightsaber fighting, you get got there.
I was just about to say, no one's going to die in this because we see Marok later. But are we of the belief that Marok is, in fact, undead in Ahsoka and that he can die in Maul Shadow Lord?
Yes, and
Yeah,
I'm glad you brought this up because I wanted to talk about that. He's not just undead. It seems that he is undead via Night Sister shenanigans, which also ties into Maul. So, I don't know. I have no theories, but
Oh, yeah.
there's pieces of this puzzle that I want to present just to
I gotta think
chew
about
on.
that.
I don't have any answers to this, but I am very excited to see that because Marok is in a very unique situation where he could die, and I would feel like, oh, well, he obviously had to die because he has to get reanimated for Ahsoka, or he could live, and I'm like, well, of course he lives. He's in Ahsoka.
Yeah, that's kind of where I am, too. They got us bent over a barrel with this show. They're like, guys, this is it. This is the one. We literally cannot mess it up.
Yeah, they are crushing it.
Any other thoughts?
Let's hit him with some force for thought. The Lakers are about to be on. Luke's got to run.
That's true.
That's right.
All right. Does anyone have any force for thought that they wanted to talk about? I do have a force for thought. So, in Star Wars, aka A New Hope, there is a moment when Luke gets to the base on Yavin and he's suited up in his pilot's uniform and he's checking out his X-Wing, presumably for the first time. And I got to look at my notes here because it's kind of a lengthy quote. But then I think
Can't be
it's
long
Red
that
Leader.
Han Solo quote.
Red Leader comes up to him and he says, "You sure you can handle this ship?" And Wedge says, "Oh yes, sir. Luke is the finest star pilot in the outer
Wedge.
or not Red. Sorry, Biggs." Says, "Oh yes, sir. Luke is the finest star pilot in the Outer Rim territory." And then Red Leader
That's
says,
Bush
"Ah,
pilot.
you'll do all right." Is it Red Leader?
Yeah.
Okay. And it's like, oh, that's a nice little moment of like, camaraderie building and hazing. But it's like, what if he said no? What if he's like, I'm pretty incompetent. I've never flown this ship in my life. I've only flown speeders around Tatooine, and the ships that we have there don't hold up. It's like, you're not, this guy's the literal definition of a picky chooser at this point, right? Because we've seen Rogue One now. Like, we know that Red 5 just got smashed into smithereens, not, 2 days ago before this moment, and they need all hands on deck. Like, they were not about to turn this guy around and just leave an empty ship here. So it's like, it was a nice little moment, but don't push your luck here, buddy. All right, this guy is doing you a favor by stepping in at the last minute.
No, I think this is a good lesson in what would have been addition by subtraction. Like, yes, they need all hands on deck, but this is still a complex military operation. You can't have amateurs up there. That would do more harm than good.
How much of an amateur? I mean, even if he's... I mean, what do you think he's going to be running into the other ships, just bumping into them when they're kind of in their flying V formation or something?
Bumping into him.
You've flown the Millennium Falcon in Galaxy's Edge. That's literally what happens.
They've designed that to be deceptively difficult.
Yes.
Just saying, I think if you're not the best bush pilot in the Outer Rim, it might be challenging.
You think the X-Wing operates like the Millennium Falcon at Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, where like Luke Skywalker can only do the left and right, and R2 is doing the up and down, and he's like, "No, R2, we got to go in the trench." No, I'm sure it's somewhat intuitive in that world. That's why I'm saying it's like, no matter what he said there, like, this guy's gonna be fine. Like, you want him on your team.
I see both sides.
Unless they had somebody else in the wings. If they had another guy who was like, "I have flown an X-Wing before, but I'm not very proficient. I can if you want, but we have this new guy coming in who claims to be a good pilot."
Haven't seen him myself. I wonder if they were just going to send Leia up there as punishment for bringing the Empire here. Man, after watching Andor Season 2 again, it really... highlights that move by Leia to take the Millennium Falcon that she knew was being tracked back to Yavin. Like, they put so much effort into not being discovered. They were doing so well.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, well, it all works out well in the end. But not because of Red Leader's intuition. But anyway, let us know what you think. You can reach out to us across social media, or you can email us at ForceForThought at... I fucked it up. Matt, edit that. Make it better. Email us.
That's fine. I had another thing I wanted to say.
Oh, perfect. Okay, Matt, you can edit all this.
Marok is not as rusty in this show as he was in Ahsoka, which I never thought he was that rusty in Ahsoka, but I recently saw the Black Series figure again, and I remember we talked about it when Ahsoka was coming out. He's very rusty in the Black Series figure, and he's pretty rusty in Ahsoka, but he looks clean as hell in Maul Shadow Lord. Is he going to get stationed at a nice saltwater base after this? Like, is that going to be a character beat that we're going to see develop?
No, that's just the aesthetic of post-Empire. I mean, even all the Stormtrooper remnants, they're all rusty and completely filthy. I think that's just what they're getting at, is that he's long removed from the Empire.
Maybe we'll see him die and be buried, and then they just resurrect him.
If he's
with the
dead
Night Sisters and
resurrected with Night Sister magic, then that would imply like some sort of connection with Maul. But he's still very much pro-Empire, because he's also doing this to bring back Thrawn, although he's not really Imperial himself. He's more of a mercenary, because he's kind of more with Shin Hati and Baylan Skoll at that point, isn't he?
Oh boy. No, he wasn't with Shin Hati and Baylan Skoll. Marok?
Yeah, I feel like they were a trio.
Oh yeah, they kind of were at times. But they were working for the Empire. Baylan Skoll and Shin Hati were doing it for their own reasons, but Marok was just an Imperial goon.
You think he was loyal to Thrawn?
Yes, because he's loyal to the Empire, and the Empire is to be inherited by Thrawn at that point.
Interesting.
Okay, I'll think about that.
I didn't mean to keep everyone here. I just wanted to point out Rustgate to see if it's going to come up.
We'll keep an eye on it. We'll track it. We'll track the rust
Yeah.
level of the helmet. Matthew, I don't know if you can just kind of edit that back like 20 minutes ago when we were talking about Marok. Just do your little editing magic. I'm sure it'll all come out great in the end.
Luke will let us know when he re-listens to it.
I will.
All right, let us know what you think. Reach out to us across social media at ForceForThought, or you
Jesus,
can
we're doing
email
the
us
whole
at
sign-off
ForceForThought@gmail.com. I didn't do it
See
right
you,
the
Sammy.
first
See you,
time. I
Sammy.
had to.
We didn't do the intro right either. What a mess.
No,
No.
well,
And I'm editing this whole thing backwards? Why did I do that? It hasn't even happened yet. It's just all of our voices are reversed. Download this episode to reverse it yourself. It's a fun game.